What's up, everybody? Master Reactor here, and as you can tell, it's green, but this video is not going to be about the ladder. This is going to be about what's up. I'm working all day until 9 p.m. or so, and tomorrow all day 8 a.m. I don't think I'll be free until maybe Sunday morning or so. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so that's my next opponent, y'all, is the Sauce. So, that being said, I am playing right here. Let's see, go to the GOAT format. I am playing the 50 ladder tournament. And I will show you the bracket real quick. This is the bracket. I am way up in the bracket right now. I've won 3 or 4 matches in a row, I think, or maybe 3. I need to win 2 more to get my invite, so we're really fucking close. This game I just played is the replay that I'm going to do versus YataYata, and it was pretty sick. So let's see what went down here. See, I throw paper, he throws paper, and I throw rock, he throws rock. I throw paper, he throws scissors, so he gets to go first. All right, not too great. And he opens Double Knight Assailant, Thunder Dragon, Spy, Chaos Sork, and Faith. So his hand is pretty bad. My hand, I would say, is worse because I have Double Thunder Dragon, Chaos Sork, Spy, and Upstart Goblin. So when I see Double Thunder Dragon, I'm pretty much, you should probably just, not every time scoop because I've come back before with Double Thunder Dragon. But I'm thinking in my head, like, this shit's a wrap. I got Double Thunder Dragon. What can I do? So he decides to set a Knight Assailant and pass. I draw into Deco. I discard the Thunder Dragon and grab my 1. Sucks, I open 2. I Upstart Goblin into Mirror Force, okay? And I decide to set Spy and just pass. I don't set the Mirror Force because I figured if he runs into it, I don't know what his set is, so, it is what it is. He draws into Deco. He flips the Knight Assailant and punishes me instantly and pops my Spy, and then pokes me for 200, so it's looking bad. He sets Deco and passes. I draw into MST. So I decide to summon the Deco and just swing at the monster. He draws into a knock. So good thing I didn't set it because he would have just knocked it there. So a little bit light in the tunnel, maybe, but still looking pretty terrible. I decide to set MST and pass. He draws into a Torrential. He sacks his Knight Assailant for Thunder Dragon and swings at my Deco. I take 200. I really don't have much here. He sets Torrential. I in-phase MST it. And I draw into a knock, which is pretty dead. I decide to just bring the Chaos Sork out here. This probably was a misplay, but I just got to get something going. The game's pretty much over anyways. That's the way I looked at it. So I set Mirror Force and set knock and pass. Okay, he thinks about it for a minute, and he banishes the Dark and Light and brings out the Chaos Sork and banishes my Sork. And he sets a Reaper and sets a knock and passes. I draw into Sinister, which is pretty dead. I decide to knock the monster, which is a Reaper, which I probably didn't have to do. I set Sinister and pass. He draws into a Deco. So this man's drawn all monsters this game. But it's really good for him because I don't have shit, so it's all good. He knocks my Sinister, so now I'm down with nothing at all. There's no way I'm going to do anything. He attacks. I have to Mirror Force the Chaos Sork. He sets a Spy and passes. I draw into Tribe. I decide to run the Tribe out and swing. It is a Spy. So I take 400, and main phase 2, I use Tribe's effect. I was hoping that was a Spy. He draws into a Faith. So he's got Double Faith, Knight Assailant, Thunder Dragon, and Deco. And I have a Tribe and a fucking Thunder Dragon. I draw into Tsukiyomi. I swing into the Knight Assailant, and he pops my Tribe. He draws into a Breaker. He sets his Deco and passes. I draw into a Jar of Greed. I set it and pass. He draws into a Sinister. He flips his Deco. I say okay. He draws into a Knock. So it's pretty bad for me. He pokes me for 1400. I have to take it. He sets a Sinister and passes. I draw into Jar of Greed. I decide to set the Yomi and set the Jar of Greed and pass, hoping that he Heavy Storms me here so I can get a little bit of advantage back and maybe do something in this game. But I already know it's a wrap. I knew it was a wrap right when I seen the double Thunder Dragon. So he runs out Breaker here. And he breaks. No matter what, I'm going to chain one of them. It doesn't matter. So he pops this one. I chain and I draw into a duo, which is pretty dead for me. He knocks again. And he hits me for 3k. And he sets Jar of Greed and passes. I draw into Graceful. So now I'm like, alright, maybe I can do something. I draw a Greed and draw into a Faith, which is pretty dead. I decide to duo here. Maybe I shouldn't have duoed. That was probably a bad decision to duo because, I mean, there's nothing really in his hand that's going to really fuck with me. So that probably was a misplay. I decide to fire the Graceful. And he thinks about it and he says, okay, it's a Jar of Greed. He can't do shit. I draw into Solemn, Singin, and Deco. So not looking too good for me. I decide to set Faith and set Solemn and pass. He draws into a ring. So this shit is pretty much a wrap. He flips up the Sinister, swings with a Deco, and that is the game. I cannot do anything. Nothing I can do. Maybe I shouldn't have duoed there. Maybe I could have maybe come back if I didn't duo, but I don't know. I just felt like duoing, and that was pretty stupid probably. So not only did I misplay a couple times that game, but I opened double Thunder Dragon, so there wasn't much I could do. Game 2, I board into triple Trap Dust Shoot, Torrential, Kaiku, and Mind Control, I want to say. So let's see what happens this game. I get to go first, which is always good. Just praying on open the double Thunder Dragon again. And this hand's pretty busted here. Double Deco, Trap Dust Shoot, Mirror Force, BLS, and Pot of Greed. So this is definitely what I like to see. Sangin and Chaos Orc off the pot. Decide to set Sangin, set Trap Dust Shoot, and Mirror Force. I decide to Trap Dust Shoot him. And he's got Faith, Trap Dust Shoot, Solemn, Thunder Dragon, and Faith. So his hand is pretty bad. So not much he can really do here. He discards his Thunder Dragon and grabs 2 more. He sets the Solemn in the Dust Shoot. I draw into another Dust Shoot, which is pretty nice. And he decides to pick my BLS and puts it back. I decide to flip the Sangin. He says okay. And I swing on him for 1,000. And I set Dust Shoot and set Deco and pass. He draws into a Jar of Greed. I fire the Dust Shoot again, just saying fuck it. Get more cards out of his hand. Maybe he drew into a different monster. If not, it's all good. I'm going to at least get a Faith here. So I put the Faith back. He has a Jar of Greed. He sets the Jar of Greed and passes. I draw into Ring. I decide to flip the Deco, seeing if that's fine. He thinks about it and says okay. I draw into Tsukiyomi here. I go right into battle phase and hit him for 24, which I know is going to be clear because of Dust Shoot. Dust Shoot's just so fucking broken. Card is busted as shit. Like, you just know everything they're going to do. So I run Tsukiyomi out here, and I'm just like, you're going to Solemn it? If not, it's going down, and I'm plussing like crazy here. So he decides to use the Solemn on the Tsukiyomi, which is fine with me. I decide to just pass. I don't set the Mirror Force because I think if he draws into heavy, I'm fucked, and I'm going to save the ring for a later day. So he draws into a Book of Moon and an Upstart. He fires the Upstart. I gain 1,000, and he draws into BLS now. So he doesn't have a dark, though. That's the problem. He has no darks. So he literally has to just set Book and set the Faith and pass. I draw into BLS. And I don't have a light. He doesn't have a dark. So it's pretty funny. I decide to just go right into battle phase and swing. He gets a Faith. I mean, it's a Faith, so he gets his Upstart back. And I hit him for 1,400. He decides to take it. I set the Deco, and now I set the Ring and pass. He draws into a Faith. I decide to ring the Deco here. And he saves it with a Book of Moon, which is fine because now my shit goes down. He upstarts into a Sangin. So now he has a little play here he can do, but not much because I have double Decos. He crashes into the Sangin. And I grab my Faith, and he grabs a Spy. Main phase 2, he drops BLS on me, and banishes this one, which are both Deco, so it doesn't matter. I draw into Spy. I flip the Deco into Thunder Dragon. So that is the game. as I'm running out the BLS or the Chaos Sword. Pick one. So we're going on to game 3. Game 3, I think I just said fuck it and just went with just one mind control, maybe and a Kaiku. A mind control and a Kaiku I put in. So this game, he's got Thunder Dragon, Book, Deco, Chaos Sword, Trap Dust Shoot, and Card Destruction. So he decides to discard the Thunder Dragon, which is obvious. Some crazy games here. He sets the Dust Shoot and then Card Destructions. So Card Destruction, I kind of like this card. I mean, it makes him go neg. He does get it back with the whatchamacallit, but it's still, he wastes a card. He gets a brand new hand, so he draws into Knock, Faith, MST, Solemn, and Regeki Break. So nothing much really here. I've got Mind Control, Ring, Wing Blast, Chaos Sork, and Snatch Steel. So he decides to set the Solemn and just pass. I draw into Pot of Greed, which is pretty nice. He fires the Dust Shoot on me, and I only have a Chaos Sork, so that's going back, which is fine. And I decide to fire the Pot of Greed here. He Solemns it, so I'm like, alright, cool. Now he's at 4K. I don't really have much I can do. I set the Ring and just pass. He draws into Night Assailant. So he really doesn't have much he can do either. He sets the Night Assailant and sets Regeki Break and passes. I draw into Mirror Force. And I decide, because I know he knows I have Mind Control, so I'm not going to Mind Control this right here. I'm just going to wait. He decides to set Deco and pass. Now he thinks I'm not going to Mind Control that one, but I should have maybe Mind Controlled this one and then popped his shit, so left him with nothing. But instead, I went for the Mind Control and the Deco here. And it was a pretty good hit. And I draw into Jar of Greed. I decide just to set the Jar of Greed and pass. He draws into a Dust Shoot. And he goes for battle. And hits me. Goes into battle phase and hits me for 14. I take it. He sets the Dust Shoot and passes. I draw into a Kaiku. Wish I wouldn't have drew into a monster there. That would have been clutch. But instead I drew the Kaiku. And the Kaiku goes back, so now he knows I have Mirror Force. I didn't think he knew I had Mirror Force, but I guess he did. And I fire the Jar of Greed. He says, okay. I draw into a Deco here. So I set the Wing Blast and just pass here. He draws into a BLS. And he goes right into battle phase and hits me again, and I decide to take it. And he sets MST and passes. I draw into Spy. So now I'm just like, fuck it. I'm just going to try to go for some shit here. I'm sick of waiting, so I decide to just run the Deco out. Sometimes you just got to say fuck it, right? I run the Deco out. And he says, okay, that's fine. I decide to Snatch Steal his Deco. And then I Wing Blast and put the monster back on top here. He thinks about it. He says, okay. I go into battle phase, hit him for 14. He takes it. And then I swing with the other Deco when he thinks about it, and he decides to MST the back row, and I decide to chain it on my own Deco, making him take 14, and I'm trying to go for a game shot here, but unfortunately, he has a Regeki Break, and he pops the Deco, so that doesn't go off. I hit him for another 14, he's at 1200, I set Mirror Force and pass, he gains 1000. I know it's a Night Assailant. I already knew that. With no I just figured that was a Night Assailant, and my read was dead on. So he's got Night Assailant, Faith, and BLS here. So see what he decides to do. He thinks about it for a while here, for a split second. And he drops the BLS on me. And he goes for priority and banishes the shit. And he decides to set the Faith and pass. I draw into Chaos Orc here. I fire the Graceful because I'm sick of waiting, and the next card was fucking Thunder Dragon, so I should have definitely waited one more turn. But I didn't think I had a turn, so I just went for this play here because it is what it is. I drop the Chaos Orc, I set the Solemn, and pass. He draws into Jar of Greed here. He sets the Jar of Greed and sets the Night Assailant and passes. I draw into Tsukiyomi. I set the Chaos Orc down. And he says, okay, he's trying to like fucking mind game me here when he has a Jar of Greed. And I decide to just crash into the monster, which I think is not Night Assailant, but it is, so I got punished here. He pops my shit. I bring the Tsukuyomi back. He draws into Ring of Destruction. He fires the Jar of Greed into Graceful, so this is pretty nice here. He Gracefuls, and I decide to just Solemn Judgment it, putting me down to 2,600. And wouldn't you know it, he has a Faith set, so he flips it and grabs the Graceful right back. He fires the Graceful into Jar of Greed, Torrential, and Upstart. He decides to discard Upstart and Torrential, and he pokes me in the face for 300. And he sets Ring and Jar of Greed and passes. I draw into a Kaiku, which is pretty nice. I run the Kaiku out on him here, forcing him to Ring. And I swing Bada Bada for 15. And he goes Jar of Greed first, which is like, okay, I think he has Regeki Break. But he doesn't. He has a Ring, so he decides to Ring it. So now I'm at 400, and I'm at 500. He's at 400. He draws in the Snatch Steal. He switches his Faith to defense. He runs out Deco and tries to game me, but I got the Mirror Force. He sets Snatch Steal as a bluff. I draw into Tribe, affecting motherfucking Virus, and discard the Tsukuyomi and attack for fucking game. All he has is Snatch Steal. Let's go. Epic game. GG. That was awesome. The top tick the Tribe right there. That was lucky as shit. Overall, it was a pretty good match. This guy's really good. He knows what he's doing. I'm like, okay, I guess. I'm just playing. I'm pretty good at the game. I know everything that I needed to do, but maybe I got a little luckier than him, but he did graceful me. He did have a lot of good shit. He BLS'd me. He started with card destruction. So it is what it is. It went down the way it went down. I need 2 more wins, and I get my invite to Worlds. That would be fucking awesome. If I could do that, I got to wait till Sunday to play the next match. I will do the replay of that when it happens. So hopefully if I win, because I only put wins on my channel, y'all know this. But that being said, this is a longer video, real thought process, gameplay here. Hit the like, hit the sub. Have a good day or night. Peace out. Bye.